Why being too good is destroying your life. The dangerous truth about strategic goodness. Have you ever noticed something strange? The kindest people often suffer the most. The person who always helps everyone eventually feels exhausted. The friend who is always available is rarely appreciated. The employee who works the hardest is often overlooked. The partner who forgives endlessly is frequently taken for granted. At first glance, it doesn't make sense. Society teaches us that goodness should be rewarded. We're told that kindness creates loyalty. That generosity creates gratitude. That honesty creates respect. But reality tells a different story. And if you've ever felt used, ignored, or taken advantage of despite your best intentions, you're not imagining it. There is a reason this happens. And understanding it may completely change the way you see human nature. Goodness as exposure. Imagine walking through a forest carrying a bag full of gold. Everyone can see it. Everyone knows exactly what you have. And everyone knows you are unlikely to defend yourself. What happens next? You become a target. Not because you are bad, but because you are exposed. This is what happens to many good people. They believe goodness automatically creates safety. Instead, it often creates visibility. People learn your patterns. They learn that you'll always say yes. They learn that you'll always forgive. They learn that you'll tolerate behavior others would never accept. And slowly, without realizing it, you train people how to treat you. Human beings are remarkably adaptive. If someone can get something from you without consequences, many will continue trying. Not because they are evil. Because it works. Consider the employee who constantly covers for coworkers. At first, everyone praises their dedication. Months later, those same coworkers begin expecting it. What was once appreciated becomes assumed. What was once voluntary becomes mandatory. The employee is no longer respected for helping. They're expected to help. The same thing happens in friendships. Relationships. Families. The more predictable your sacrifice becomes, the less valuable it appears. People respect boundaries. They respect limits. They respect strength. And when goodness exists without those things, it often becomes vulnerability disguised as virtue. This is one of the hardest truths to accept. Being good does not automatically make you safe. Sometimes it makes you visible. And visibility without protection attracts exploitation. The generosity trap. Now let's talk about something even more dangerous. The generosity trap. Most people believe that giving more creates more appreciation. That seems logical. After all, if someone helps us repeatedly, shouldn't we become increasingly grateful? Unfortunately, human psychology doesn't work that way. Imagine someone gives you a gift today. You're excited. Surprised. Thankful. Now imagine they give you the same gift every week for an entire year. Eventually something changes. The excitement disappears. The gratitude fades. The gift becomes normal. What was once extraordinary becomes expected. Psychologists call this adaptation. Humans quickly adjust to positive experiences. And once we adjust, we stop noticing them. This is why people who constantly give eventually feel invisible. The help never stops. But the appreciation does. A parent who sacrifices everything for their children often discovers this reality. At first, every act of support feels meaningful. Years later, it becomes routine. Expected. Ordinary. The sacrifices continue. The gratitude shrinks. This doesn't mean people are malicious. It means they are human. The mind treats repeated kindness like oxygen. Essential. Valuable. But rarely noticed. And this creates a painful cycle. The more you give, the more people expect. The more they expect, the less they appreciate. The less they appreciate, the more you feel compelled to give in order to regain their appreciation. And before long, your identity becomes tied to sacrifice. You are no longer valued for who you are. You are valued for what you provide. The moment you stop providing, everything changes. Suddenly you're selfish, difficult, unhelpful. Not because you've changed, because expectations have. This is why strategic generosity is more powerful than endless generosity. People appreciate what they cannot automatically assume. Scarcity creates value. Availability often destroys it. Why people stop appreciating you. This leads us to another uncomfortable truth. People rarely appreciate what is guaranteed. Think about the things you value most. Fresh water, electricity, internet access. You rely on them every day. Yet you probably spend very little time feeling grateful for them. Why? Because they are always there. Now imagine losing them for 1 week. Suddenly their value becomes obvious. The same principle applies to people. When someone is constantly available, their presence becomes invisible. When someone is always helping, their help becomes background noise. When someone never says no, their yes loses meaning. Human attention is attracted to contrast, not consistency. We notice absence more than presence. This explains why some people spend years giving everything to others, only to receive little appreciation in return. Their contributions have become part of the environment. Expected, invisible, taken for granted. The tragic irony is that many people respond by giving even more. They believe the solution is greater sacrifice, more effort, more generosity, more availability. But this often makes the problem worse. Because appreciation doesn't come from quantity. It comes from perceived value. And perceived value requires limits. The people who are most respected are rarely the people who are endlessly available. They are the people whose time, energy, and attention are treated as valuable. Because they treat them as valuable first. The psychology of respect. Now let's discuss something many people confuse with being liked. Respect. Respect and affection are not the same thing. Someone can like you without respecting you. Someone can enjoy your company while ignoring your boundaries. Someone can appreciate your help while viewing you as weak. Respect operates differently. Respect emerges when people recognize strength. Not aggression. Not cruelty. Strength. The ability to protect your values. The ability to say no. The ability to tolerate temporary discomfort for long-term benefit. The ability to remain calm under pressure. Many good people unknowingly sacrifice respect in exchange for approval. They avoid conflict. Avoid disappointment. Avoid difficult conversations. Because they fear losing relationships. Ironically, this often weakens relationships. Because people instinctively trust those who have standards. Think about leaders. The most respected leaders are not necessarily the nicest. They are often the clearest, the most decisive,
and above all,
the most consistent.
in the face.
People respect individuals who can withstand pressure without abandoning their principles. They respect those who understand when to be compassionate and when to be firm. Respect grows when kindness is paired with strength. Without strength, kindness appears fragile. Without kindness, strength appears threatening. Together, they become powerful. Strategic goodness. This brings us to the central lesson. Strategic goodness. Strategic goodness does not mean becoming manipulative. It does not mean becoming selfish. It means understanding that goodness without wisdom can become self-destruction. Instead of helping everyone, you help intentionally. Instead of saying yes automatically, you choose carefully. Instead of sacrificing endlessly, you invest wisely. Imagine a gardener. A gardener does not water every plant equally. Some plants need more attention. Some need less. Some must be removed entirely to protect the rest of the garden. Is the gardener cruel? No. The gardener is effective. Strategic goodness works the same way. Your energy is limited. Your time is limited. Your life is limited. Every yes costs something. Every commitment consumes resources. Therefore, every act of kindness should have purpose. Not because kindness should be transactional. Because your ability to help depends on preserving your own strength. You cannot pour endlessly from an empty cup. And you cannot save others while destroying yourself. The strongest people understand this. They know that protecting themselves is not selfish. It's necessary. Because only those who remain strong can continue helping others. Results over intentions. Now we arrive at one of the most uncomfortable truths about human nature. The world judges results far more than intentions. Most people don't want to hear this. Because intentions feel noble. Intentions make us feel good about ourselves. We want to believe that having a good heart is enough. That wanting to help matters. That trying our best deserves recognition. But reality operates differently. Imagine a surgeon. One surgeon has wonderful intentions but lacks skill. Another surgeon is demanding, strict, and sometimes unpleasant, but consistently saves lives. Which one would you trust? The answer is obvious. Because outcomes matter. The patient doesn't live because the surgeon meant well. The patient lives because the surgeon was effective. The same principle applies everywhere. A parent who avoids discipline because they want to be liked may feel kind. But if their child grows up unable to navigate the world, what was the result? A manager who avoids difficult conversations because they don't want conflict may seem compassionate. But if the team collapses due to poor performance, what was the result? A friend who always tells you what you want to hear may appear supportive. But a friend who tells you the truth, even when it hurts, may change your life. This is where many people confuse niceness with goodness. Niceness seeks comfort. Goodness seeks growth. Niceness avoids tension. Goodness embraces necessary discomfort. Niceness focuses on immediate feelings. Goodness focuses on long-term outcomes. And those two paths often lead to very different destinations. History remembers people who created change. Not merely people who had good intentions. The inventors, the reformers, the leaders, the visionaries. Many of them were criticized. Many of them disappointed people. Many of them made difficult decisions. But they produced results. And results changed the world. This doesn't mean the ends justify any means. It means good intentions alone are not enough. If your kindness consistently produces weakness, dependency, or stagnation, then perhaps it isn't helping at all. Real goodness asks a different question. Not, do people feel comfortable right now? But, will this create a better future? And sometimes those answers are not the same. Legacy and power. Now let's talk about something bigger. Your legacy. The mark you leave behind. Most people spend their lives trying to avoid criticism. Trying to avoid conflict. Trying to avoid disappointing anyone. And then one day they realize something painful. They have spent decades living according to other people's expectations, not their own. Think about the individuals history remembers. Were they universally liked? Rarely. Were they universally approved of? Almost never. But they possessed something more important. A vision. A purpose. and the courage to protect it. Power is often misunderstood. People imagine power as dominance, control, authority. But true power begins somewhere else. Self-mastery. The ability to control your emotions, your impulses, your time, your attention, your priorities. Without self-mastery, external power means very little. Because anyone can be manipulated if they cannot control themselves. The strongest people are not those who control others. They are those who control their own lives. They decide where their energy goes. They decide what deserves their attention. They decide which relationships deserve investment. And they understand a critical truth. Every yes is also a no. Every hour spent pleasing someone is an hour not spent building something. Every unnecessary obligation is a piece of your future being traded away. This doesn't mean becoming selfish. It means becoming intentional. The greatest contributions to humanity rarely come from people who say yes to everything. They come from people who dedicate themselves to something meaningful. People who are willing to disappoint others in order to fulfill their mission. The artist who spends years perfecting a craft. The entrepreneur who sacrifices comfort to build something valuable. The scientist who devotes decades to solving a problem. The leader who makes difficult decisions despite criticism. None of these people succeed by pleasing everyone. They succeed by focusing. And focus requires boundaries. This is where strategic goodness becomes essential. Because if you allow every request, every opinion, and every expectation to control your life, you will never build anything significant. You will spend your life maintaining other people's priorities. And one day, you may discover you neglected your own. Your legacy is not built through endless accommodation. It is built through purposeful action. The question is not, did everyone approve of me? The question is, did I create something meaningful? Because approval fades. Reputation changes. Opinions shift. But meaningful contributions endure. The final truth. At this point, you might be wondering, does this mean I should stop being kind? Stop helping? Stop caring? Absolutely not. The lesson is not to abandon goodness. The lesson is to strengthen it. Imagine a tree. A beautiful tree with deep roots. When storms arrive, it survives. Not because it is gentle, but because it is strong. Its strength protects its beauty. The same is true of goodness. Goodness without strength becomes vulnerability. Strength without goodness becomes tyranny. But together, they become wisdom. The world needs more people who are both kind and strong. People who can say no without guilt. People who can help without being exploited. People who can forgive without becoming victims. People who understand that boundaries are not barriers to love. They are protection for it. People often believe their value comes from how much they sacrifice. But sacrifice alone is not virtue. Sometimes sacrifice is fear. Fear of rejection. Fear of conflict. Fear of disappointing others. True virtue is different. True virtue is choosing your actions consciously. Not because you feel pressured. Not because you want approval. But because they align with your values. Strategic goodness is not manipulation. It is wisdom. It is understanding that your resources are limited. Your energy is limited. Your life is limited. And therefore they must be invested carefully. Because if you give everything away carelessly, you eventually have nothing left to offer. Not even to yourself. Powerful conclusion. So let me leave you with this. The world does not need more people who are merely nice. It needs people who are powerful enough to remain good. People who understand that kindness is strongest when supported by boundaries. People who understand that generosity is most effective when guided by wisdom. People who understand that respect and compassion are not enemies. They are partners. Stop trying to be liked by everyone. Stop measuring your worth by how much you sacrifice. Stop believing that endless giving guarantees appreciation. Instead, become someone whose kindness is intentional, whose generosity is meaningful, whose strength protects their values. Become someone who helps because they choose to, not because they are afraid not to. Because the goal is not to become harder. The goal is to become stronger. Not colder. Wiser. Not selfish. Effective. Remember this, being good is not enough. Being good and strong is. Being kind is not enough. Being kind and wise is. And your greatest contribution to the world will never come from allowing others to consume your life. It will come from building a life so meaningful, so purposeful, and so strong that your goodness creates lasting impact. So before you leave, ask yourself one question. Am I being good because it is right? Or because I am afraid of what happens if I stop? The answer may change your life. If this message challenged the way you think, leave a comment below with these words. I choose strategic goodness. Because from this moment forward, your kindness is no longer a weakness. It is a strength. Protected by wisdom. Guided by purpose. And powerful enough to change the world.